Hey, Brooke in Alexandria, Virginia. Matthew here with freeprescriptionlenses.com, and with the help of my GoPro camera, I'm going to show you how I cut invisible bifocals for the RayBan frame that you have sent me. Awesome color RayBan. Of course, this is the classic original Wayfarer. And here are your lenses. Let's go ahead and actually, first things first, let's go ahead and trace your frame. In my computer, let's just wake this thing up. Everyone wants to know, how does the machine know what shape lens to cut? This is why. A little stylus is going to pop up and trace the shape of the right lens before moving over and tracing the shape of the left. Here at freeprescriptionlenses.com, where everyone loves a bargain and no one is disappointed in quality. You buy a genuine, authentic RayBan frame and you will receive free, clear, single vision prescription lenses. Of course, you mailed me your frame, and you're actually, the other add-on is the invisible bifocal, so that is what you're paying for. And I'm going to put in your pupillary distance. As soon as that shape pops up, you are 31 in both eyes. This is going to be a height of 22. So I'm going to put that in there, and you're going to be doing the invisible bifocal, so I'm just going to get that grid ready. I'm going to go ahead and get your lenses prepped. I'm going to take these down here. This is the little protective sleeve that they come in, along with your Crizal cleaning cloth, because you got the Crizal anti-glare coating. Your lenses come in these little protectant coatings, the sleeves, and it comes with 2 black dots from the manufacturer, which I immediately remove. Those black dots, your lens actually has a little invisible, was almost invisible, laser mark that is cut into the lens. It tells me the brand and the power of bifocal. This machine allows me to see that, so I'm going to put a dot, my red dot, because I've just cleaned off the black one. And your bifocal power is 2.2. I don't know if you can see that, which stands for 2 1/4. And I mark this one the right lens. Let's do the same thing now for the left lens. The brand is always at the nasal area. The power of the bifocal, which I will underline here, is always at the temporal, and that is the left. I'm going to have my little grid here. I'll use those 2 points to give me a horizontal meridian, and then I mark your optical center. Do the same thing for the right lens. Flip that over, get the grid done just perfectly, and there we have it. I'm going to turn that off so you don't get any weird psychedelic effects in the background. Now, I'm going to take your lens. The reason why I put those 3 dots on there, and actually let me use my pen to darken it on this one side so you can follow along at home. The pen actually writes in white, but when the white turns into black on the computer screen, let me darken that a little bit more. There we go. So now you can see the 3 marks I'm looking at, your optical center, and then a straight line which gives me the horizontal meridian. Now, this is a block. I need to attach this to your lens while it is cutting. So I need to apply a double-sided adhesive sticker, which I've already done. It's stuck to the block. I'm going to pull the paper away to make the second side of the double adhesive sticky, and there's a little silver button on the back is a magnet. That does 2 things. It holds it in place in the arm and then in the edger. The magnet's going to hold it right there. I get everything oriented just right. That the geometric center of your frame is this blue cross, but this is where your pupil is going to sit. So I'm just going to have that lined up perfectly. Put that in the optical center, and then these 2 dots are going to go on that straight meridian. I hit that button, the arm comes down and it places the block onto the lens. Let's do the same thing now for the left lens. Going to get everything lined up just where it's supposed to go. Optical center there, and then those 2 dots are on that straight meridian. Tells me that the lens is in there straight. Pull this paper away. Put the block on there, hit the button, the arm comes down and places the block onto the lens. Now, the actual cutting wheel, this is the edger. It costs $40,000, weighs 200 pounds. I recommend everyone go out and buy one, and then they can cut their own lenses at home. The actual cutting wheel is over here on the far right. It's going to act like a heavy grit sandpaper to grind away your lens material. This wheel in the center with that little channel, that valley, that's what's going to put the bevel onto the lens. So I'm going to take your right lens. This is the second step of what the magnet does. It's going to hold it in place in that chuck, or as I like to call it, the Charles, because I don't know the machine well enough to call it Chuck. I'm going to wake it up. That is going to be the shape of your right lens. I'm going to cut this on the soft cycle because of the anti-glare coating, and just arrange the bevel, a light bevel on the front of the lens, a heavier bevel on the back surface of the lens, and then hit start. The door closes, that clamp will shut, and then two white calipers are going to trace the shape of the right side of your frame, measuring the thickness of the lens at every point to know exactly where to place the bevel so the lens fits best inside the frame. I can move the bevel forward, or I can move it backward so it fits best inside your frame, just to minimize any edge thickness that you could have. So in just a moment your lens is going to drop down onto the cutting wheel. If you notice, there is water running in the background just to collect dust, but polycarbonate lenses cut dry where plastic and high index plastic cut wet. Now this is coming down very slowly because of the anti-glare coating. Lenses without that I can cut faster, but that anti-glare coating is a hydrophobic surface, meaning it hates water, but not in a bad way. But it just makes your lens a little bit more slippery, so I cut them a little bit slower. Now your lenses are made out of polycarbonate. Polycarb is 40% thinner and lighter than regular plastic. They're virtually unbreakable. They're bulletproof up to 22 caliber and has both UVA and UVB protection built into the lenses. We know what the sun's harmful ultraviolet rays can do to your skin from overexposure, where your eyes are 8 times more sensitive than your skin. So you have permanent sunscreen for your eyes, unlike the lotions, creams, and sprays that have to be reapplied every couple hours at the beach. This is permanent and will never need to be reapplied. Now if you notice, your lens is still completely flat all around the edges, just like a nickel. I could take it out of the machine and set it on the counter and it would stand up on its own. Now one last time, those calipers are going to measure the thickness of the lens at every point to know exactly where to place the bevel so it fits best inside the frame. Your lens is now going to drop down onto the bevel wheel and get a knife-like edge put on them. A very dull knife, just like me, but a knife-like edge nonetheless. Your lenses will be so sharp that it could cut a piece of wet tissue, providing that you soak the tissue in a bucket of water overnight, and then if you press down really hard with your lens, you might be able to cut through the tissue. Now you see that white little flap? That is called Schwarf. That is optical sawdust. That is going to be rinsed away in the last 20 seconds of the cutting cycle. Water jets will begin to spray to wash that away. And there we have it. So it does this for the last few seconds just to wash away any optical debris that could be on the edge of your lens. Now the last step, this lever is going to come down that arm, and what looks like a little wheel that you would find on a Dremel tool, that's going to put a smooth bevel on the front surface of the lens before moving over and putting a heavier bevel on the back surface of the lens. Alright, it did the front, and now it's doing the back surface, the concave surface of the lens. Just a moment, the door will open. I will take your lens out and dry it off, and we'll see if it fits into the frame. So I'm going to use my thumbnail just to wipe away. Again, that is optical sawdust called Schwarf. All you Mel Brooks fans, this is when you say, may the Schwarf be with Schwartz, may the Schwarf be with you. But it's not going to be with you. I'm going to use my thumbnail and scrape it all off. So let's see if it fits. First time around, I'm going to tuck the lens in at the outside corner using my thumbs. I'll press down at the nose, and it does not want to slip in there, so I'm going to take it down about 1/10 of a millimeter. The golden rule, you can always cut more off of a lens. You can never add it back on, so I'm going to take off 1/10 of a millimeter, and I may need to do more if it doesn't fit in. For all my American friends who has no idea what a millimeter is, it is the distance between my thumbnails. I'm going to take 1/10 of that distance off, going around the circumference of the lens until it fits in there perfectly. Now you upgraded to the Crizal anti-glare coating. It does 3 things. The first feature, as I mentioned, it eliminates glare when driving at night, particularly driving at night in the rain, but also from street lights, stoplights, computer screens, overhead fluorescent lights. The other feature is that it's a reflection-free lens. That's why it goes by the moniker ARC, which stands for anti-reflective coating. So when someone's looking at you, they're not looking at their reflection in your glasses, so it makes for much better eye contact. Plus, if anyone takes a picture with the flash, you won't see the flash lit up in the lens, you'll see just your eyes. Now the third feature that I like, which is the practical side, is it comes with the strongest scratch coating in the business. The machine that applies your Crizal anti-glare coating costs well over $1 million. It takes over 24 hours to apply. They literally vaporize 7 different layers onto your lens. And because the time and the expense needed to do that, they put the strongest scratch coating in the business to protect their investment. Alright, so the lens is done. We will take it out and we'll see if it fits now. The golden rule, you can always cut more off, you can never add it back on. So I start a little bit large and I work my way down. I apologize in advance, as the invisible bifocal always takes a little bit longer than, because I have to dot it up as you saw me do. So again, let's tuck it in at the outside corner. Using my thumbs, I press down at the nose. It still doesn't want to go, so I'm going to do another 1/10 of a millimeter, which is not uncommon for the original Wayfarer. It has a very deep bevel. So again, I'm taking another 1/10 off, so we're at 2/10 of a millimeter for a total of 1/5 of a millimeter. So the right lens takes me a little bit longer. Once I get the size perfect, we'll flip it over and we'll start cutting the left. This is a great frame. I love the color of this frame. The only thing you could have done better is to buy this frame from me. But it's okay. You got a good deal on this frame. I can't fault you for that. Now I'm wearing the new Wayfarer. This is the original Wayfarer. The original Wayfarer was made in 1952. Mine was made in 1992. Yours has a little bit more panoscopic tilt, where it comes away from the brow and comes in towards the cheek. Mine's a little bit more vertical. Of course, yours is more square, where mine is rounded off. Original Wayfarer, new Wayfarer. Yours comes in about 50 colors. Mine only comes in about 12 colors. And this is the classic. I mean, John F. Kennedy wore this frame. Other heads of state, musicians, Bob Dylan, artists, musicians, everybody, celebrities, professional athletes. Am I leaving anybody out? In fact, I saw a show on the people who started Gucci. I forget her name. But she was being interviewed and she was wearing a pair of the black original Wayfarers. I guess this is before Gucci came out with their own line of sunglasses. Alright, let's take this out of the chuck. Dry the lens off, make sure it's cleaned of any debris. And I'm going to tuck it in at the outside corner. Come on, tuck it in, tuck it in. And then push down at the nose. And it snaps in. I can take that block off now. Let's go ahead and cut the left lens. Flip that over to L. And come on you, come on you. Put that in and we're going to hit start. And just like before, those calipers are the caliper clamp's going to close, and then it's going to move up, and the 2 white calipers are going to trace the shape of the left side of the frame this time. Measuring the thickness of the lens as it goes around to know exactly where to place the bevel so that the lens fits inside the frame the best and you have no edge thickness. So you have a perfect cosmetic quality to your frame now. And while that is cutting, I'm going to go ahead and inspect the the right lens. Very faint, I can still see the optical center. I'm going to darken that for the measurement. I'm going to put it into my Marco 101 lensometer just above that red dot. Spin the axis wheel to 180 and check the power, and I'm getting minus 375 for the spherical power. Check your astigmatism correction, and ending up with a total power of 4 1/4. That is because the unit of measurement we use in the optical world is called a diopter, spelled D-I-O-P-T-E-R. Starts at 0 and goes up from there, 0.25, 0.50, 0.75, 1, and so on. You are at minus 375, so you need 15 steps of correction for your farsightedness. Without your glasses on, everything is much larger in real life than it really appears. So when you put your glasses on, it will minify 15 steps. That's why there's a minus sign. It will minify to make everything the correct size. Now once it's the correct size, we correct for the astigmatism. There is a stigma over the word astigmatism. It simply refers to shape. It's just like saying someone has straight hair or someone else has curly hair. There is a stigma over that word. Everyone freaks out when they hear it, but it is no big deal. This first number gets everything the correct size. The second number takes away fuzzy edges. That's why you squint with astigmatism. It's because you're trying to change the shape of your eye, but that's also why astigmatism causes 6s and 8s to look alike with the letters P and F. So we get everything the correct size. We take away the fuzzy edges. Essentially, this is the fine-tune knob. And we're going to turn that knob to 180. When you think of a straight line from 0 to 180, with 90 being in the center, that's what we're going to do. We're going to turn that fine-tune knob all the way to 180. Now, you actually have the same axis for the right and left eye, which is very rare. Most people are different in their eyes than you are. You're actually on the 16th rung of the ladder for your left eye, so it's one step stronger than your right, but the same amount of astigmatism correction. The reason why we ended up with 4 1/4 is, remember high school algebra, you add two like signs together? Of course, I like to use today's vernacular. If someone had borrowed $3.75 and then they borrowed another 50 cents, they would owe you $4.25. So that's why we're at 4 1/4. Now for your left eye, when we inspect it, we start with 4, we add another 50 to it, we're going to end up with 450. Now these first two numbers are real values to be concerned with. This last number could be anywhere from 0 to 180. So, and that does fluctuate. Now, you need an additional 2.25 for your invisible bifocal. This is called the add because in addition to what's on top, you need 2 1/4. So you actually can subtract, because this is a plus sign and that's minus. 2 1/4, 3 1/4. So you could actually use at the computer like a 150 reading glass, even though you're different in your right eye, probably about a 175 there. That is the difference. Of course, 22 is the height of the bifocal. And let's go ahead and check the left lens to make sure it's the correct size. Let's take it out of the chuck, dry it off. We can always take it down a little bit more if we need to. I'm going to scrape away your schwarf, so the schwarf will not be with you. Tuck it in at the outside corner, then using my thumbs, press down the nose. That fits in well. Take this block, pull that off. I'm going to check the power of your left lens. Again, I'm going to put it in over that left eye. Check, and I'm getting -4, so that is made correctly. Check your astigmatism correction, and we're ending up at -450, so that is made correctly. Your pupillary distance is a total of 62, so I'm going to turn the card around, and I'm going to place the 0 on my PD stick against your right lens, and when I hold it up to the left, we're getting 62, so that is made correctly. The last thing I want to do is clear those red dots off your lenses, unless you want to be the first on your block to wear them with those red dots, but I doubt it, so let me clean these off. Got some ink on my finger there. Don't worry, it's not blood. If it was blood, I'd be crying and screaming. You'd know. So Brooke, that is it. I appreciate you getting the glasses from me. If anyone else has any questions, just email me at freeprescriptionlenses@gmail.com. And Brooke, I hope you enjoyed watching, as I made the invisible bifocal with Crizal anti-glare for your own RayBan 2140 in this very unique special edition color. And hopefully everyone else has got the chance to see how I bring that love and feeling back to glasses. Thank you.